everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Duke's Dive. This week I'm going to start off with AEW. This episode, the commentary team wasn't able to make it, so this episode had Tony Schiavone, Cody Rhodes, and Kenny Omega on commentary. The first matchup was Cody Rhodes versus Jimmy Havoc. This match was surprisingly technical and move for move early on and so forth. Rhodes puts Havoc in the figure four, and to get out of the figure four, Jimmy pokes him in the eye. Match moves over to the commentary table. Jimmy grabs the headset and taunts Cody. Grabs Cody by the tongue, gives him an uppercut. Cody hits his entrance tunnel lariat on Havoc and gets a lariat for his trouble back from Havoc. Cody reverses a top rope suplex and wins with two crossroads. Next up, we see a message from Lance Archer in the form of Jake the Snake, saying that basically that Lance should have signed with AEW. Lance should have been with AEW from the start. Lance should have already had this match with Cody. They were trying to get his attention. Lance wants this match with Cody. Blah 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 blah. They go to commentary. They go to commercial, come back, and Cody's back on commentary. Says that Jake is bitter and jealous. Says that Lance Archer has no body of work to immediately face Cody, but he could debut next week. Next up, we see Darby Allin versus Kip Sabian. Cody compares Darby to a young Sting on commentary. He also mentions that the guardrails are bike racks after they are utilized. This match had a nice WCW and Nitro cruiserweight feel to it. Darby wins with a Last Supper that Cody referred to as a Gibson leg lock. Next up, we have Jake Hager basically squashing a guy named Chico Adams, but afterwards he's attacked by Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley hits the paradigm shift, and then in the backstage promo says that he is cleared to go, and Hager won't get his title because he will be quartered off on a stretcher or die trying. Next up, we have QT Marshall versus Brody Lee. Cody calls the Dark Order a cult with the promo we got from Brody Lee with the Daddy Eats First thing, and basically the things we've basically been seeing from the Dark Order. Brody Lee starts off with a nice big boot, starts working Marshall on the outside, overpowers him with suplexes on the outside. Looked real good and agile, and he won it with a big boss man style slam, and then neat looking lariat that he started off kind of like Sister Abigail teasing style that he went, and then instead of hitting the crossover suplex or whatever crossover, he hit the lariat. I thought that was really neat to see. They offer QT a mask after the match, so he's been offered to join the Dark Order, I guess. Next up, we see Sammy Guevara versus Kenny Omega. This is a very special defense of the AAA Mega Championship. Television defense. We don't see this very often, as we learned on Being the Elite. Kenny was wrestling with a boxer's fracture. I learned that Sammy Guevara is trained by Booker T. We had a nice long match here. Sammy works Kenny's hand a lot, counters a top rope cutter very nicely. Kenny has a top rope tope con hero, hits a V trigger, goes for a second one but is blocked. He does manage to hit another V trigger. Sammy hits him with a nice burning hammer, like go to sleep type thing. And then he hits like another V trigger. But we do see Kenny Omega retain his AAA Mega Championship with a one-wing angel. Next up, we have a Chris Jericho calling Matt Hardy out to answer for his actions in joining the Elite last week. Basically, this is a promo you got to see to believe. Cuts a promo on Vanguard 1, offers him to join the Elite. Vanguard 1 flies away. Holograms, projections, Matt was all over the audience. When they do meet face to face, we learn, we see obviously that Matt and Chris Jericho have had history before, but this is a new version of Matt Hardy. Not only broken, but not the broken Hardy from before, which was Zenith. This is the broken Hardy with the entity known as Damascus behind the wheel. He was basically saying that he was paying a favor back to the Young Bucks, and that he really doesn't owe them an allegiance, but other than that, he's been seeing the Inner Circle run roughshod over All Elite Wrestling, and he's not going to put up with that. And basically, he's going to turn All Elite Wrestling into All Delete Wrestling. This is good stuff, and it's awesome to see the original Matt Hardy, the original broken Matt Hardy back, all with classify myself as obsolete piano theme back in full effect. Everything that basically we lost when he joined over into WWE is now back into full effect. The broken universe is in full effect, and basically that covers my coverage of AEW for March 25th. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, next up is NXT from March 25th. This week was back to the wrestling of NXT. Of course, back at the Performance Center, no fans. TakeOver Tampa was canceled, but the matches that were supposed to have taken place over TakeOver Tampa are now going to be taking place on NXT over the next couple of weeks. First match we see is Austin Theory versus Tyler Breeze. Theory comes out with a cell phone teasing Breeze in his entrance, hits a rolling blockbuster. Breeze hits the supermodel kick for a 2 count. Theory then goes to cut a promo on Breeze on his phone mid-match, during a highly competitive thing here, and Breeze hits him with a beauty shot for the win, and then shows him how to cut a cell phone promo the right way. Next one was Aaliyah versus Io Shirai. Aaliyah was just returning after 4 months after breaking her nose. She was set to face Xia Li, but Xia was attacked backstage. This was a qualifying match for the number 1 contender ladder match. In quick fashion, though, Io Shirai wins after she hits her signature moonsault. Awesome stuff. Next up, we see Keith Lee come out, and he basically says that after a grueling match with Cameron Grimes, he was attacked by Damian Priest. He thought it was Dominik Dijakovic, and he was taunting him with his title, and, he retaliated, but he basically owes Dominik Dijakovic an apology. Dominik Dijakovic comes out, said he really doesn't care about his apology. The fact of the matter is he was attacked, and basically he only cares about that North American title. Out comes Damian Priest, and he says he wants that title. He wants the extra money that's going to come with it, and the infamy, basically, of course. And Keith Lee says all you guys are squabbling over the title while he stands right here. And then Damian says, well, I guess it's time to make you not stand. And then him and Lee start fighting, and basically Dijakovic hits them with a Tope con Hero. And that's how bad he wanted that title, they said. Next up was an Adam Cole promo that says he's on vacation, but Dream does not have him flustered because he's the longest reigning champ. And announces that next week will be Velveteen Dream versus Bobby Fish. Next match is Candice LeRae versus Kayden Carter. This was a nice smash mouth back and forth. The two meshed very well, I think. LeRae wins after she taps Carter out to the Gargano escape after a Shining Wizard attempt. The ladder match for the number one contender now goes Chelsea Green, Mia Yim, Tegan Knox, Io Shirai, and Candice LeRae. And there's going to be one more spot as far as that goes that will be decided here in a couple of minutes after I tell you the match. But first up, we see Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong in the main event of the evening. This was a super mat-based Super Card of Honor style match. The two do have history at NXT TakeOver. There was a nasty gut-wrench superplex from Riddle. Strong gains the upper hand and hangs Riddle up in the ropes. There's a lot of quick move-for-move exchanges. Riddle picks up the win, though, with a Bro Derek after countering a running corner-to-corner forearm smash from Roderick Strong. After the match, he was attacked by an unknown team that was led by Malcolm Bivens. So to finally see the on-screen debut of Malcolm Bivens, I've been waiting to see that for a while now. I know he got signed back a while ago, but it's awesome to finally see his on-screen NXT debut. Like I said, there's one more spot for the ladder qualifying match. There will be a second chance women's gauntlet match next week, which would be tonight as I'm recording this Wednesday morning. There will be a second chance women's gauntlet for the remaining ladder spot featuring Xia Li, Deonna Purrazzo, Dakota Kai, Aaliyah, Kayden Carter, and Shotzi Blackheart. Of course, then also tonight will be Bobby Fish versus Velveteen Dream, and it was made official that the North American title will have a triple threat: Damian Priest, Dominik Dijakovic, and Keith Lee. To cap things off for the week, we see a Johnny Gargano Tommaso Ciampa sit down that was orchestrated with Triple H. Basically compares the two to he and Shawn Michaels. They basically all agree that this whole feud needs to end. Triple H sees fit that it should end in Mania, and Gargano says he doesn't really care about that. It doesn't need to end at Mania. It should have ended a year ago, but Tommaso had to go and break his neck. You know, things get heated. He says, I don't care if I wrestle him in an empty building. And I guess basically Triple H is going to find an empty building for these guys to wrestle in. And as far as he says, if the feud doesn't end after this, I guess they'll both be fired. From what he said, if I'm not mistaken. So that wraps things up for NXT. And basically, that wraps up things for the week. I'm going to come back here in another week here and cover a couple different things for you. The first couple of matches for the TakeOver Tampa show replacement, and probably just WrestleMania, and we'll leave that as a jumping off point. I figure that I'm going to restart fresh on the WWE Universe, and I'm going to make WrestleMania my jump off point, my fresh slate point, so basically what I'm going to do is cover that. That will be the end of the end of Season 2, and anything from that point on after next week will be the beginning of Season 3 of The Duke's Dive. I thank you for joining me. I thank you for listening. Shorter one for you guys here as we move into WrestleMania weekend here, and wish you all happy times in this trying time we're living in here right now, and everything's gonna shake out and settle out here soon and be back to normal. Like I said, thanks for listening. Tune in next week to the Duke's Dive. Thank you. Goodbye.